The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Current and Joseph Christina as they serve up the hottest photography news and commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 197. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Current. Last week's show we talked about a digital Holga on Kickstarter, Adobe's free mobile photo editor, Final Cut Pro X, and 3 new Wacom tablets. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at digitalphotographycafe.com and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dphotocafe. Listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or subscribe through iTunes or RSS.
Hey, Joe, we're back. How you doing, my friend?
We are here. Good evening, my friend.
Yes, good evening is right. We're recording at night this time.
Yes.
Normally we record in the morning, but the days have been kind of crazy. So
yes, one day
squeezing it in.
Yes, one day moves to the next, and the next, and the next, and you don't even know day, night, or whatever. There was a lot of Apple stuff that came out, which we kind of wanted to accumulate and put together a little something for you guys. There's a lot. There was just a ton of information that came out. So, and you have been extremely busy, right?
I have been really busy. Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm sure all of our faithful listeners and viewers have noticed I haven't been around as frequently, and I mean, basically, it just comes down to I have been swamped with work, which is a good thing.
Sure.
But it's really cutting into a lot of the time that I was allocating to do other projects, one of which is the show. But it is what it is, you know, the old saying, make hay when the sun shines, and that's really what I need to do right now. I've got these really great contract work account with the Photo Marketing Association. I've probably mentioned that on the show before. They are a long-time photo industry company. They've been around for like 80, 90 years. And we, starting with the beginning of the year, it went under new management. And in April, I came on board as a contractor and have been getting progressively more and more busy with the account, which is awesome. But coming up at the end of September, we've got a big summit out in San Francisco. It's called Innovation Now, and it's the Photo Business and Technology Summit. So we're actually, Joe and I are both going to be out there, which is going to be cool. We'll get to hang again.
Yes.
Yeah, so Joe's going to, it's a day and a half long seminar, and Joe's going to be shooting some video, and I'm going to be running around doing whatever I'm needed to do. But it's really good. I mean, this has been really great work for me. So moving forward, I'm planning on continuing being a little sporadic with the show. I don't want to say that I'm not going to be on. I don't want to say that I am going to be on. I'm going to do it whenever possible of doing, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, work comes first, and then everything that we do with the show always has to come second, because, you know, that's we're offering up to you guys free of charge, and we're not getting paid for it. And we've been doing it for 4.5 years, and hopefully you guys appreciate it and enjoy it. The one thing that you can do if you're hearing this, which would really help us out a lot, is subscribe. That really kind of just shows the, you know, us that you know, what we're talking about, people are listening to, and they're appreciating and they're liking. So, you know, if that's the only thing you can do, that's fantastic. Of course, you can go and like the Facebook page and whatnot. But like you said, Innovation Now is huge. We talked about going to Washington, D.C. That was a few months back in regards to PMA. And let's say, vitalization of PMA. That was a very interesting a couple of days there. And now Innovation Now. That's going to be a really great summit. I'm extremely happy to be be a part of it. And we're going to be out there. I think it's about 3, 4, maybe even 5 days or something. It's going to be quite a bit.
Yeah, we're going to be out in San Francisco for the summit. That's like 3 days, and then we're going to take a couple days and spend some time out there again. Who knows when we're going to get back out to San Francisco, you know?
Right.
It is the extreme opposite coast from where we both live,
Right.
In fact, Joe, I mean, for you, God, I mean, you couldn't really get too much further other than going up to Washington, I guess. But
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, for me, I'm a Miami to Manhattan guy, so I'm usually shooting commercially from Miami to Manhattan. I like staying East Coast because I don't waste an entire day. I can actually I can get on a plane at 6 o'clock in the morning, be in Manhattan within 2.5 hours, shoot all day, be on a plane back, and just like if I was commuting in a car. So it really works out really good. But anyways, we got a decent show for you guys. This week is going to be a lot of I would say Apple-esque. There's a lot of Apple news, but it's all important stuff because a lot of us are into Apple in one way or another, either computing or mobile computing with a phone or an iPad or something. So kind of to kick it off would be the iPhone 6S that just came about. They've been talking about it, and now it's a lot of all the specs are starting to come out and stuff, and it looks pretty amazing. So
yeah, this phone is definitely an improvement over the 6 and the 6 Plus.
But they always do that, right, Trev? They're notorious for that. If you've got if you got a 4, the 4S is always a big time, difference. If you got a 5, the 5S is always better. And the same thing with this. The 6 was great, but the 6S is just leaps and bounds ahead, right?
Yeah, this looks really good. I mean, they've made a lot of really nice improvements. Probably one of the big improvements is this new 3D touch interface that they have.
Right.
So it's still the glass, it's still the surface, the swipe and the touch, but now it not only senses movement left and right, up and down, but it also senses pressure.
Yeah.
So you can actually push down on the glass and it will react differently as in comparison to just, running your finger across it. So one of their new technologies that they've trademarked and everything is called peek and pop. Mm-hmm. So when you can go, let's say, into your list of text messages, touch over a message that's in there, and it will give you a peek inside of what it is. And if you want to comment or write back or whatever, you continue to hold it down, you kind of push a little more, and it actually pops it open into the window. So it's a great way of getting in and out of apps and notifications quickly without, having to spend the time, go in, close, go back to the home screen, get to wherever you need to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And that gets into that same 3D pressure sensitivity we'll talk about later, the Apple Pencil, which is based on that technology, basically. So there's a lot of stuff that they're doing that they have. The whole idea with this new phone is just taking what they have and then just pushing it to the next level. They went up to 12 megapixels on the image sensor. Supposedly the signal processor is coming up with better, let's say truer colors, sharper images, more detail in those images.
And 12 megapixels is a big bump from where they were.
Yeah, absolutely. And 12 megapixels, we know that, let's say, if we don't deal with, let's say, the entire megapixel wars where they're up to like 50 megapixels, Canon and Nikon now, but we know that a 12 megapixel image will produce a solid 8x10 all day long. I've done with 12 megapixels, very, very large 60 by 40s. And they look fabulous. So you don't need much more than 12. So they know that number is right. I mean, that's a good number.
And Apple's always done a really good job with the quality of those pixels in their cameras as well. So exactly. I would expect that this 12 megapixel is going to be a really good quality image sensor.
Yeah, they added in rose gold as far as a color, which is absolutely disgusting. So, if you like that,
for me.
It's definitely not for me either. Not a fan, but I do like the 5 megapixel FaceTime camera that they added HD with that whole Retina flash thing, where the entire screen goes pure white and then amps itself up 3 times brighter every single one of those pixels to act like a flash, like a strobe. Really cool. I like that. I think that's really neat. It's a smart way.
Whenever we've tried to do selfies in a dimly lit room, right? Yeah. We're always like, can't get enough light in here. Then you end up turning the camera around the other way where you can't even see yourself.
You don't know,
and you're cutting your head off and whatever. So, this is kind of cool. So now the screen will light up like a big LED, like a big flash, It's
kind of
pretty good.
Yeah, you got an A9 chipset there, supposedly quote unquote 70% faster, which is great. 90% faster on the GPU. So your graphics, everything having to do with graphics, all those little, they're turning into little game devices. They
really are. They're powerful, and
very
and
powerful.
now it's shooting 4K video, so you kind of need that extra power as well for processing all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, where it kind of stumbles and falls on their face, and this this seems to be like what's been going on here, is the price. Obviously, the price has always been high, but now that these companies are no longer subsidizing the cameras, you don't get that dollar camera or that dollar phone anymore, right?
No.
So now all of a sudden, you're having to buy it outright for, let's say, $700, $800, or you still have to pay it monthly, but you have to pay it within an X number of month plan. Let's say a 24-month plan for, let's say, $27 a month or $31 a month. It all, if you do the math, it ends up at $750 to almost $900 in the course of that 12.
You're basically paying the full freight of the phone.
Every
whether
penny,
you buy
not
it
even
all
a little,
in one shot,
not even a little
or you break
discount.
it out over the months. The phone companies are no longer subsidizing it, so
Right.
you're paying that full freight. I mean, we were in the past we would get an $800 phone for $300 or $400,
Right.
And now we're not. We're paying the full, $700 to $800 for the phone, and you're just paying it one way or another. And for me, I mean, I've been with AT&T for a long time. I've been on the iPhone for a long time, and I have an iPhone 5, so upgrading to the 6S would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
But, geez, I don't know. I don't know that I want to pay an extra $31 a month on my bill.
Yeah.
That is already, kind of high, just to have the latest and greatest technology. Because to be honest with you, the iPhone 5 works just fine for pretty much all of
for what
my
you want to
needs.
do. I mean, and my question, I guess, would be to you guys: are you going to do it? I see that for me, a family that has 4 iPhones in the family, we're paying well over $200 a month. If we were to go and let's say get 4 new phones at, let's say, $27 each, you're looking at an additional $100. So now all of a sudden, let's say the 225 turns into $325 per month. I mean, these are electric plus water plus gas bills just for having that smartphone in your pocket. I mean, I'm wondering, when are we just going to say when, and it's just going to, the heyday is going to be kind of be like done. And people are, when is that blowback going to happen? And people start buying, this resurgence of like the 4 and the 4S, and people buying the 5, not for $100. Maybe the price goes up to $200 or $300 at that point, because people start buying those and not these new, because that's what happened on the PC market. I mean, I've been doing this ever since I was a kid, forever. My first computer was an Apple IIe. And an Apple II Plus. So, I've seen it happen with Microsoft. I mean, they had an incredible run, and then things started tapering off. And the same thing in the PC market. Things were great for a long time, and then stuff started petering. It was a 12-month cycle, 18-month cycle, 2-year cycle, and you buy a new computer. Then all of a sudden it started going to 3 years, to 4 years, to 5 years.
Right.
I mean, you and I are a testament to that. We have machines that are 4, 5, 6 years old, and they still function perfectly for what we need them to do. So, I don't know, this might happen with phones too. I just can't see people paying $900 for a phone.
No.
Continuously.
Your average household is not going to be able to afford to do that. I mean, Apple has always kind of been, let's say that upper middle class to upper class that would buy their products anyway. I mean, they're expensive. We know that. And that was always, if you had an iPhone, you were latest and greatest technology. I mean, if you had a Motorola, Android phone, well, you got the cheap phone from your local, from your carrier. But now it's a different animal, and we need to really reevaluate, our technology uses.
Yeah. And what's important and what's not important. That's I think what's going to end up happening. So anyways, moving on, iPad Pro looks very cool, right? It's almost 13
Yeah, now
inches.
this is important. I mean, this would be
think
something
so.
that you might want to spend the money on.
Yeah, exactly, because now it's a computing device. It's amazing. It's 16, it's a 64-bit processor. It's an A9X. That means
which is comparable to most portable PCs at this point.
It is. That's exactly
I mean, we're
right.
getting out of the tablet range and entering PC computer horsepower.
It is like a Surface, right?
Yeah,
it's like the
yeah.
Surface 3, Surface Pro 3.
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing where it's an iPad, you stick a keyboard to it, and now you have a computing device. That's all
Yeah.
they need to do is start sticking in some type of entry points, maybe USB 3, maybe it's a Thunderbolt with you need some ports.
Something, yeah.
This is an HDMI out would be really nice, especially for gamers. They
Yep.
want to share their screen and let's say upload their experiences straight into Twitch or some other network. You need an
Right.
HDMI out. So there's little things that they need to do to make this happen. But this is a full-blown computer for $799. 32
And a 12.9 inch screen. So
Right.
that really is like a small laptop size screen now.
Exactly. And they're claiming all-day battery life, so it's not like a laptop that's dead in 4 hours or lasts 3 hours. Like I said, $800 for 32 gig. You can go all the way up to 128 gig for about $1,000 or $1,100, and then include Wi-Fi and as well as cellular. So you have both options
Right.
instead of just one or the other. So those are going to be available in November. It looks very, very cool. And kind of moving on from that is that pen or that pencil that I was talking about at the beginning, and with that input and that pressure sensitivity that now they're implementing into the device. Should be scary for the Wacom's out there. You know
it. I mean, now this pencil, the Apple Pencil, is interacting with the multi-touch display with
Right.
the pressure sensitivity in the display, and now you really are turning into a full-blown tablet,
A Cintiq.
a full-blown Cintiq. Yeah,
Right.
it's really
Yeah.
it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes.
Right, for sketching. Then you can also do your pinching and your pulling and your twisting and whatnot to get into get really in there. My question is, what is the pressure sensitivity? Is it 1024? Is it 1024? Is it 2048? Maybe even higher. I really don't know. The high-end pads that we know are out there at 2048, right? The ones that are middle ground are 1024. What is this going to be at? Maybe they might not rate it that way. I don't know. But that would be a very interesting thing to find out, because I'm telling you, the pen cost or the pencil costs $99. And if you can get the tablet for $800, you're looking at $900 having the equivalent to a $1,500 to $2,000 Cintiq.
A smaller screen, but nonetheless, I mean,
but not a normal screen. You're talking about a Retina screen, a unbelievably sharp, crisp, beautiful screen. We're not talking about just regular resolution here. You know.
Well, I guarantee you, come November, when these things become available, we're going to see a lot of people reviewing these, doing these comparisons and stuff. And I'm really looking forward to it. I don't use a tablet. I know you're a big tablet guy.
Yeah.
And I don't use it. And I was actually watching a video with my daughter the one day, and it was an animator, and they're sketching and stuff. And I was saying, how this is all done with a tablet, and a stylus on screen.
Yeah.
And I said, Daddy doesn't work like that. I use a mouse.
Yeah, I cannot, Trev, I cannot edit unless I have my tablet.
No.
I mean, because I'm in there doing very fine work on my edits, and I can't do it. There's no way to do it, with that almost analog feel of a mouse. You just can't do it.
No.
The one thing,
no,
guys,
I still go old school. I draw with a pencil and mark it up with pen and then scan it in and retrace
oh my God,
it.
Trevor. Come on now.
I know.
That's
I know.
brutal.
I'm dating myself, right?
I tell you one thing, guys, that really gets me, that I just really like this, is pressure sensitivity is one thing, but what they also have is tilt. And once you have tilt, you have it all. That's just unbelievable to me.
Because now it's more of a natural movement.
Absolutely. And you can take something that's a brush that comes in like this, tilt it to the side and get a wider stroke, tilt it all the way, and now fan it. And all kinds of stuff you can do with tilt. So anyways, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with this. So, or with this
kind
technology.
as a final tag along with the iPad here too is this new keyboard that they came out with, which is really interesting too. There's been a lot of Bluetooth keyboards, folding keyboards, and a lot of it's been kind of garbage, really not all that great. And this is really nice. It's a full-size keyboard. It's thin, and it uses a smart connector, which plugs in to the iPad itself. So you're not actually using Bluetooth with it, and it doesn't need batteries. You're actually running off the iPad's juice, basically. It becomes more like a wired keyboard on your computer.
Yeah.
Really, that's really interesting, and it can transform into a soft cover for your iPad as well, which is kind of nice. If you watch the video that they have on Apple's website, you can actually see how this works. It's really cool.
Just like the Surface, right? Same type of thing.
Basically just like the Surface. Yep, for $169.
Yeah.
So tag all of that on there, and you're, for the entry level Wi-Fi, you're up over $1,000. For the more expensive one with cellular, you're, pushing $1,300.
You're up there probably right around and that's probably why they did it. It's probably really close to how much a full, full blown,
a full booted out Surface
is going to be the same thing. So anyways, guys, we got a lot more for you, but before we go any further, let's go ahead and hear from one of our sponsors. The 3-in-1 Photo Reference Tool is a versatile, all-in-one color reference accessory designed to help you dial in white balance, exposure, and color temperature. With its 37 anti-reflective color reference tiles, both photographer and videographer can take complete control over their color workflow. The front side features 19 color tiles. The large 18% gray card with center target makes autofocus lockup easy while providing fast in-camera custom white balance and single-click color correction in post-production. The 6-step exposure gradient provides perfect tonal reproduction, balancing highlights with deep, rich blacks in every image. Its 12 tiles of primary, processed, and standard skin tone colors are perfect for digital reference. On the backside of the 3-in-1 Photo Reference Tool, you will find 18 custom tiles. 6-step exposure gradient including an 18% gray tile, perfect for dialing in exposure and neutralizing color temperature in post-production. And finally, perfect for the portrait photographer, a unique 12-step gradient unlike any other color reference tool, allowing warming, cooling, and neutralizing color with a single click. From in-camera to post-production, the 3-in-1 Photo Reference Tool helps push your creativity to the next level, providing complete color control over all your imaging creation. Grab one today from your local camera dealer or visit our website at jchristina.com.
All right, so we're back, and to kind of continue along with the Apple announcement from this past week, they came out with a new Apple TV, finally, after all these years, all this time. And this actually looks like it is a massive improvement over where we were.
Yeah.
We are talking all new hardware built from the ground up, totally revamped. I mean, it's like, I think maybe if they use the same shape, that would be about it. I mean, it's been completely redone.
Yeah, guys, it's not an actual TV, right? If just in case you don't know what an Apple TV is, it's a little hockey puck. It's a little external box.
Exactly. But what's cool now is the previous Apple TVs had the little wireless Bluetooth remote, and it gave you directional arrows and a selection in the center. Now this remote is pretty wicked.
Yeah.
The top part of the remote is actually a glass touch surface, and it also has Siri built into it, so you can actually speak to it. And again, I would say, if you're interested at all in this hardware, check out the website. They've got a great demo on there, a great little video. But you can actually speak into it now and say, find me a movie or find me a show with whoever.
Yeah.
And it will search not only through, Apple's movies and TV shows, but it will search through Netflix. It will search through Hulu. it will search through all of their partner directories right now to find any of that stuff, and it will show you on screen what's available.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a subscription to, Netflix, then you'd be able to watch it.
Right. I mean, it feels like it's almost becoming a game console also, because that remote you can turn sideways and now use it as a remote, like a controller for games, for gaming. So I can see them also adding in, they have some games already, but getting, let's say, deeper into
some
it.
Serious games.
Maybe some add-on remotes that you can get, different controllers that give you better functionality for the games. I can see that happening, which will just take it into the set-top box that allows you to do everything besides play Blu-rays. So
right. Well, this TV OS is the new operating system for Apple TV, and it's based off of iOS, of course. Right. So that means that the developers creating these great games for the iPhone and the iPad can basically port them easily over to Apple TV.
Right.
And now Apple TV actually has its own app store, which is huge. I mean, this is a game changer for that set-top box.
Absolutely.
And you say Apple's late to the party, coming up with apps, Fire TV and some of these other ones have been doing it already. And that is the case. But this is slick. I mean, you're getting Apple's design, you're getting Apple's interface, and it's $132 for the 32 gig and $199 for the 64 gig. And that's basically storage for storing all your apps and your games. I mean, a Roku box is $100.
Yeah.
So, or in less. I mean, they have cheaper ones as well. So they're probably not far off. They might be a little pricey, but again, it's Apple.
Yeah, and exactly, it's Apple, and they did take that leap from the old hockey puck to the new hockey puck for sure.
Yep.
I mean, it's a big difference. So
the
anyway,
upgraded hockey puck.
Exactly, the upgraded hockey puck for $200. So iOS 9 looks very good. That, of course, they're talking about as far as release date of September 16th, which is going to be obviously on all of these new devices. All of your latest and greatest devices are all going to run iOS 9, and of course, you're going to be able to download them onto your old devices also, as long as they're not too old, and then they won't run 9, obviously.
Right.
What's interesting, though, I was reading in an article, is iOS 9, it hasn't come out yet until the 16th, but has already been jailbroken, untethered jailbroken.
Yep.
And the guy who does it, the hacker guy that does it, he said that, this jailbreak that I just made, it'll work all the way up to iOS 9.1. It's like, how did they do this? How does he know it's going to work to iOS?
Well, he's obviously on the developer, and he's downloading all of Apple's betas, and they probably just don't know who he is, who's jailbreaking their devices.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's kind of funny. So anyways, Apple and Adobe get absolutely slammed by the media this week, right?
Yeah, this was kind of crazy. I mean, I guess there's some validity to it or whatever, but during the Apple presentation this week, they were talking about the apps and talking about the multi-touch surface and how these apps can run on the iPad. So a representative from Adobe got up there to show, a couple of their apps, their Compose app where they can actually build layouts and stuff. And then they have an app called Adobe Fix. So he's doing like this little mock layout, and he's putting a headline in there that said Ruby Red. And he put in some, fake copy. And then he brought in this picture of a model. And this girl, she's very pretty with, big, like ruby red lips, but with no facial expression at all. She's just not even smiling or anything.
Right.
So with this Adobe Fix app, it does face recognition. And he was able to tell it, recognize the parts of the face. And now he said that, this, I wish she was smiling. It would make this design look a lot better.
Right.
So then he goes in and, hits the little slider, and then all of a sudden her mouth smiles. And it's just like a little twinge, a little tweak of the smile, nothing, not big teeth hanging out and everything.
Right.
And man, they got a couple chuckles from the audience, of course, but some of the journalists in the audience went nuts with it.
Yeah, they said it was sexist.
It's sexist. Apple is like an all boys club anyway, and now they're making these jokes about women and forcing them to smile and.
And we watch this, right? That's what we do. We report on this stuff. We watch this stuff. we commentate on it. So we kind of, and it just didn't happen. I mean, what actually transpired was just, it was such a small degree of what they're talking about. They blew this out of proportion. Like, it's just unbelievable. I can't even believe.
It was all over social media. Everybody's tweeting it from the place. Like,
yeah, it just reminds me of it's like the dog was X size, and then every time you told the next story to the next person, the dog kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger until the time, the little Chihuahua becomes a Rottie. So I don't know. It was just, I don't even get it. It was really bad. What more? What I'm more concerned about, and what the journalists should be concerned about, is their jobs. Like, if it's that easy to change a smile, a frown to a smile, with just a slider, okay?
Right.
Who's going to be policing these journalists on changing the actual perception of a photograph?
Sure.
As of right now, like there's certain organizations, you have Reuters, you have, a lot of organizations say, listen, our images are pristine. We're not going to alter them. We found in the past that they've been altered, right? And then these people end up getting canned because they've altered those pictures. They want them to be pristine. But when it's so easy to alter something, the problem that I'm having here is an image. If you just simply crop an image from just slightly differently, the entire meaning of an image changes, right?
Sure.
The whole entire story changes. But now if you can actually change a frown to a smile, now imagine, let's say Obama is sitting there speaking to people that died during the war or whatnot, and then he's got a grimace on his face, and all of a sudden someone goes and changes it to a smile. Now the entire, thought of that image changed completely just by that.
Right.
So, that's more of what I'm looking at, like how easy it is to manipulate photos today. You just have to look at it and say, what is real and what is Memorex today?
Hit the smile button, and now the whole meaning has changed. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, photojournalism is its own animal, and those images are really not supposed to be altered. Maybe you need to adjust a little bit of contrast. Maybe you need to just a little color balance, or whatever. But even at that can even change the meaning of the photo.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you, as the photographer, as the photojournalist, are looking at a scene and you snap a picture and you say, well, this is not what I saw, and you need to tweak the photo a little bit to recreate what you saw, I suppose that would be acceptable.
Sure.
But now for a photojournalist to turn a photo into to a publication, and then for an art director or a designer to get a hold of that photo and then make any type of tweaks or anything like that with the slide of a button.
Exactly.
This is where you get some really big problems coming in.
Yeah.
So,
No, absolutely.
Anyway, for this Adobe this Adobe thing, go watch the video, pop open the keynote. Apple didn't edit it. It's still there. It's about 37 minutes in. Just scrub forward, watch it for
you
yourself.
can see it and then
see
kind
what
of
you think.
Determine for yourself.
I think it got blown out of
completely
sorts.
out of proportion. So anyways, guys, two different firmware updates you need to be made aware of. One is with the Panasonic GH4. It is the firmware of, I think it's 2.3. If you have the GH4, go pick that up. And also, if you have a Canon EOS 7D, the Mark II version, the new version 1.0.5 just came out. And once again, I like to keep the cameras up to date when it comes to firmware. Never do a firmware update when you're just about ready to do a mission critical shoot, number one. And number two, make sure that it's always plugged in. You have full, your camera's, the battery's fully charged. See if you can plug it in, it's even better. Whatever you can do to make sure that during that firmware process, there's nothing there that can possibly stop it from, because you can brick your phone just like you would brick your telephone. You can brick your camera same way. So anyways, if you do have, like I said, the Panasonic GH4 or the Canon EOS 7D Mark II, go pick up the latest and greatest firmware. There's a lot of good stuff that they've put into both those firmware updates.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyways, moving on, Sony, right?
Yeah, Sony continues to crush it with their mirrorless line of cameras. I tell you, they've got it going on.
Yeah.
They really do. I have to say, I mean, looking at it just strictly from a business and a marketing perspective, these guys are killing the mirrorless market.
Yep.
I mean, there are other good quality mirrorless out there, but honestly, I mean, full frame mirrorless of this type of caliber, nobody else is doing.
No,
nobody.
No, it reminds me of the Samsung guys. They took over Sony or something. Just really good at marketing, right? Just unbelievable.
So this new A7S II.
Yeah.
This thing is sick. I tell you, it really. I mean, the low light performance in this thing. There's a video that we found, and they're shooting video, real time video, and they're clicking through the ISO.
Right.
And they're basically going from something that is damn near
pitch
dark,
black, right?
pitch black with just like a little bonfire flame going, you know. And they keep cranking the ISO, and it gets almost to like be dusk.
Yep.
And
they're over
it still
100K on the ISO, like over 100K, just crazy.
And it still looks good.
And one thing that you have to look at here, 12.2 megapixels, right?
Yep.
We just talked
Full
about that
frame.
earlier. I mean, excuse me, 12.2 megapixels.
Yeah, but full frame sensor.
Full frame
so you got
sensor.
Big pixels.
Big pixels, but 12 megapixels. We don't need 50 megapixels. And seeing that, they're doing it and Sony's doing it with that 12, that magic number. I still think 12 is the number. I think it's great. I really think that it's great. So
I think it's good.
We talked about this for some time. Now it's finally, out in the wild. It looks amazing. I've talked about it before. I really do think that if Sony continues on the path that they're going and making it so easy, for example, for us Canon shooters, Nikon shooters,
switch.
To marry those lenses to this camera and make that switch to mirrorless from our huge heavy DSLRs, they are definitely going to be in the driver's seat. There's no one else. No one else is doing it. Now, we talked last week that Canon with the M series, they're starting to work on mirrorless, but they're almost late to the ball.
They're
right?
late to the party, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that EOS M ship, I think, is kind of left the dock, and they're gonna have to get in their little lifeboats and paddle out to it quick to get on board, because they are just so far behind. And Nikon, I mean, is Nikon doing anything with mirrorless?
Yeah, I don't know.
Professional level, I don't think so.
It's very, very little. So, anyways,
they've got their smaller mirrorless bodies,
right.
But they're more consumer-ish. I mean, maybe prosumer-ish, but they're not on the lines of their high-end DSLR.
Yeah. I mean, look at this, guys. They went from 25 points of AF for autofocus points all the way up to 169 points, right? They went to full 4K recording. That's 4.2.2 recording. Clean 4K video, and not only just recording it, but pumping it uncompressed out of this thing. So you would actually be able to take uncompressed right out of the HDMI port, 4K right into a hard drive if you wanted to. I mean, this is good. This is amazing stuff. I mean,
and what's nice with this one too is it's now recording that 4K internally.
Yeah.
With the A7S, you could only record 4K externally to an external drive.
Right.
Now you can actually do it internally.
Yeah.
I would still like to see how this is going to fare, though, because there has been a lot of complaints online about these Sonys overheating with video, and not really being able to do it. So I really would like to see how this is going to perform. But regardless, I mean, the specs are what they are, and real life tests will show whether it's really
absolutely. I mean, all the DSLRs, they notoriously overheat. For example, when I go shoot this conference that we're going to, the summit coming up, innovation. Now I'm going to be shooting a Canon C100, the Mark II, the brand new C100. That is the equivalent to like a DSLR. But it's huge, it's square, and it's got a huge fan in it, and it just doesn't overheat. I mean, that's just what it's for.
It's designed to do long format video.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that's what I would shoot for, doing video. These cameras are really they're not for that. They're for clips. They're for clipping, 5 minutes, 15 minutes.
Shoot a TV commercial with it, because you're only shooting a few second clips anyway.
Absolutely.
That is perfect. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah,
great
absolutely.
for that. But not for doing long format video, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of other great features, 20 frames per second at full HD, so you can get some 120 frames, that's what I said.
Yeah, 120.
So you can get some nice slow-mo. 5-axis image stabilization, great magnesium alloy body, so it's nice and heavy duty.
Right.
Really pretty cool. Wi-Fi and NFC built in.
Yeah, NFC.
Definitely keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, definitely. So anyways, guys, we need to get out of here. We're well over 30.
Yep. It's because I'm back, man. I didn't talk too much.
He's got to shut up.
All right. So, Joe, if people want to connect with you outside of the show, what's the best way for them to reach you?
All right, guys, you can find me on Twitter, and that's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Great. And you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
So, all right, guys, don't forget to subscribe. If you like the video, definitely subscribe. We're going to put a little subscribe button, I think, right here down at the bottom of the video. So go ahead and click on that. But anyways, we need to get out of here for yet another week. If you want to find the show notes from this episode, you can do so by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/dphotocafe. And we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with any compatible device by visiting youtube.com/dphotocafe. Be sure to subscribe to our audio feed through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps or through RSS. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your host.